Hello, folks, and welcome to me, Stephen Nightingale Ball, discussing my projects once and for all. And I have decided to take a lot of my projects very, very seriously as of this year. I thought that I'll explain a couple of new things that are happening. So, the Mind Mob company is closing in 2 weeks, and we're going to be an ad agency. Which was a big bombshell dropped. But we've still got a lot of contracts to do and stuff. And it's not like, I'm taking a couple of customers on, whatever. And by the way, Adam, I've found a charger for the Sony phone. The only problem with that is it's it's in Mummy's account at the moment, Mummy's email account. So what we have to do is we have to use Chrome browser. Nothing within the actual phone because it's all signed to Mother, you see. Because it's still Mother's phone, unfortunately. So I've not managed to sign out of anything, but because I don't have internet connection. But hopefully that's something I can do in a couple of weeks or whatever. But that phone will also be it'll be a work phone, but it'll also serve its purpose as a server, because you can do so much with the Samsung phone. It's unbelievable. Well, it's an Android. Now the beauty of an Android phone is we're gonna, because it's no longer my mother's phone, I'm gonna get a web browser and stuff, and I'm going to try and find all open source material for that phone. Now, we've got, I thought, well, that could be the Ubuntu phone. But so much arsing about. When you have Ubuntu and you start doing arsing around with it, so we're gonna, it's not gonna be a closed source phone anymore, which is great when you've got an Android product. Which means, but for the moment, because I know, Adam, you've needed a phone for a while, so at least I'm going to stick the phone in the camera case with the charger. It's going to be charged. You can do all the great stuff on it. You can screen record on it and all that stuff. There are features I've tested on it, which is pretty cool. The only thing is, if we could just use Chrome on it, don't use anything else for now. And Chrome is a pretty decent browser. For work, we don't use Chrome, but it's like we use Firefox at work. When we were Mind Mob, and we're still going to use Firefox as this new company. We're still going to use Firefox because it's works browser, and so it's great because I can download Firefox, put it on my phone, and I can use Firefox when I'm at work, and I can use Safari when I'm not. But we might use Chrome as well, so we might use Chrome and Firefox together, depending on what we're doing. So Chrome is good as an environment, not as a browser. But anyway, so today's actual video is a story time video on how our old company, Builders Offices, how that opened. The location was Arnside Road. I'm not going to give the address because it's a real address and there's people actually living there, so I'm not going to give the address. But the location was Arnside Road. I was in a small house and we were given an office at the back. It was a very small office. It was about, well, for those living there, you'll know exactly the size of it. Somebody did comment on the video about me getting kicked out of Arnside Road, and that they said that they've been there and they didn't know that that was an office. But I'm going to describe our old office as very small. It was basically, we don't have very many pictures of it, but it was basically a very small back porch, and it was very small. So on one side it was a porch, and on the other side there was like a door that went into a room within a room, and that's where there was a toilet, and right opposite the toilet was a basin, and there was a radiator. We used to leave that little room open because the office used to get freezing cold in the winter, and in the summer it used to get boiling hot, and we weren't ever allowed to have the back door open. Anyway, that's another problem that we ran into along the years. We were allowed to go into the backyard in the early stages of Builders Offices, but in the latter stages we weren't. So we opened our business in we were there in June 2000, but we didn't open our business till, I think, was it September 2000. So that was quite a few good months, and we had been open for a little while. So we had a salesman who drove wagons, Charles. We had another person who did building, Bernie. And then there were two people there were two farmers. One was called Giles, the other was Travis, and they joined on. Then we later got a security guard called John, and then another security guard called Slim. Slim works as a traffic warden, and John works in the police. So they got the jobs they wanted. So Slim actually still works on Arnside Road. He's a traffic warden on Arnside Road, would you believe it? And John works in Liverpool now. But yeah, they both got the jobs they wanted in the end. There was a guy called Tim and Vinny They didn't actually, well, to start with, they didn't work for us. They worked for somebody else, and worked for us in the end. Vinny was on contract. Tim. Then we got Eddie, little Eddie, and then we got Elton, and then we got John. John Priest and Elton Ward. So yeah, and we didn't see these people a lot of the time because one, the office was so small, and two, Jack was a bit funny with everybody working on that backyard. So anyway, in 2000, we started a business with £5, and then we got my nan. She gave us more money. I'm not going to say how much she gave us. That's a bit confidential. And then somebody gave us. We pretended that there was a bank across the road where friends, my nan's lived, and this cheque turned up there, 32 grand. No, it was 32 grand, but then it was 34 grand. Then we got more money. It was strange. That was in 2004. The mayor actually helped us out as well. The mayor in Birkdale. And then Jack found out because there was a letter. We didn't pay a lot of money. And so in 2000 no, there was a credit card bill. That's how Jack found out. And in 2005, money was never discussed in the office ever again. By 2005, we had one new member of staff, a guy called Colin Bagster. And he worked for us and Geo Warehouse. So he worked for us and them. And then in 2000 and seven, I think it was, 2008. No, 2007. We got Andy Johnson. And then in 2008 he left and came back in 2009 and was there till 2011. And we didn't bring him back into the company till now. So you'll ask, how was the office like? We didn't have computers back in the day. It was all pen and paper and a phone. Oh, we had a rotary phone and we had a push button phone. We got a mobile phone. I think we had another phone as well. But it was just phones, pen and paper. It was nothing much. And we weren't allowed anything really cool. We had to use mobile phones for sending text. Yeah. Then we got a Motorola phone. That was really cool. And then we got a toy fax machine. because it was like, how are we going to send? Oh well, what's the fastest way? Letters, they're really slow. That was it. Was it you sent a letter, and it was like, I want this form doing. It'd be like in 3 weeks, and sometimes you get a customer where we can't answer that because we haven't got, you know. So then, before Christmas, we demanded. I mean, there were things in the meeting like that people wanted and didn't get for certain reasons. People wanted things like a television in the office and stupid stuff like that. But then, in 2000 and when was it? Yes, so in 2000, before 2001, we demanded that we wanted this fax machine. It was a toy fax machine, and you could press record, and it had like a toy answer machine on it, and all this stuff on it. So we got this toy fax machine, and oh boy, we had it in the office, and we just used it all the time. Like you could draw on the thing, pretend to fax, and it was really, really cool. You could pretend to do all these faxes, and so yeah, that was in the office, and had this cordless phone on it, and we were always using this fax machine to do faxes, and we were pretending to send faxes all the time and do phone calls, and the fax machine was always being used because it was like a new way. It was like, well, hold on a minute. I was like, okay, we can fax you a receipt, or we can fax you this invoice. So as soon as the fax came in, we were faxing, and things were so fast. You know, no longer we had snail mail, but we still had things coming through the mail. And then my dad's ex-girlfriend, my real dad's ex-girlfriend, got me this Conquest laptop. And that went into the office, and we were like, Jack, can we use this? You know, because he had to sort of okay everything that went into the office. And so that was on the desk, and we were using that to do a lot of our work. And then we got this other toy computer in 2005. So we had two toy computers on the desk, and we had papers on the desk, and then we had less paper and more computers. So that's how everything came and went, really. As far as advertising, it was all done over the phone. We had a web company. They used to do our internet stuff. We had a phone. We had... I've told you about all the faxing. But our community back then was very closed. We weren't allowed to have a community as such. So it was all done over the phone, all done over the internet. And it wasn't done like it is now. So if somebody knew something, you know, Jack didn't like people outside knowing what we were doing. So so yeah. And we I mean, we know how he wanted to run that office back then. And we did a lot of phone calls. We tended to get customers in 2004 ringing and asking certain things. There was one customer that rang us, and I'd learnt about Latham Plaster, and as soon as I ended the call, Jack was like, "What are you going on? Are you talking about Latham Plaster?" And so we used to direct customers and tell them what they wanted. And even Ellis managed our company for a little bit. Ellis Tomlinson. So yeah. Anyway, that's a little story about how we ran our firm. We were in Arnside Road from 2000 to 2011. And I'm going to do another story about Arnside Road and how I sold the company, bought it back. And that is another time. So, if you've got any questions about how I used to run my company and what we're doing now, and for those customers who have stressed out over the past coming weeks, don't worry, because, like I said, I'll hand you over to any of the other companies and stuff. We're going upwards and onwards with what we're doing, and we've got big boots to fill.